bigger exercise in the South China Sea sparked more friction between US and China. The world's largest naval exercise begins off the coast of Hawaii on Monday as diplomatic tensions escalate between the US and its allies in China over Beijing's territorial ambitions in the Indo-Pacific region. Several countries participating in the joint exercises, billed by the U.S. Navy as strengthening alliances to ensure. The USS Ronald Reagan was conducting exercises in the South China Sea, Samantha Jetser, EPA. The world's largest naval exercise begins off the coast of Hawaii on Monday as diplomatic tensions escalate between the U.S. and its allies in China over Beijing's territorial ambitions in the Indo-Pacific region. Several countries participating in the joint exercises, billed by the U.S. Navy as strengthening alliances to ensure a free and open Indo-Pacific, have raised concerns about China's attempts to enforce its control over critical trade routes and waterways. These include Australia, Japan, the Philippines, and India. The coronavirus pandemic has forced the biennial Rim of the Pacific (RIMPAC) event hosted by the U.S. Pacific Fleet to downsize from 25 to 11 nations, about 20 ships and 5,300 employees, as well as its exercises that now only to be carried out at sea, have been reduced from the usual 5 weeks to 2. However, the exercises angered Beijing, which despite participating in 2014 and 2016 was not invited to participate. China was rejected in 2018 by the Trump administration, which accused it of militarizing disputed areas of the South China Sea. U.S. Navy drill in the South China Sea, Jason Tarleton, EPA. Chinese state media fought against the U.S. in the run-up to RIMPAC. The Global Times in particular has published several barbed comments on Washington's attempts to flex its military muscles and strong allies to join the exercise. The U.S. can test its partners in the RIMPAC. But when it comes to a real battlefield, can the U.S. still bring as many allies together? It asked last week. On Monday, the state newspaper accused the U.S. of ignoring a petition from Hawaiian citizens to call off the event over coronavirus fears. However, in recent weeks China has stepped up its own show of force in the Indo-Pacific region and carried out exercises in the South China Sea as well as in waters near Taiwan, an island democracy and an ally of the U.S. that Beijing claims is seeking to annex. On Sunday, the Hong Kong People's Liberation Army garrison released footage of a live fire drill in southern China, firing cannons and torpedoes, and conducting anti-submarine training. This was a warning to Taiwan, according to military analysts. The footage was shot a day after the U.S. Navy said a strike group led by the USS Ronald Reagan was conducting maritime defense operations. A Chinese J-16 occurs during an open aviation day, AFP. Indo-Pacific experts have warned the region is approaching a dangerous point. Kurt Campbell, former Assistant Secretary of State for East Asia and the Pacific and Ali Wine of the Atlantic Council, wrote on the Lawfare blog that deteriorating U.S.-China relations, partly caused by the pandemic, made the current momentum even more conducive for accidental escalation. Dr. William Chung, senior fellow at the Aziz Yusof Ishaq Institute in Singapore, told The Telegraph, "You cannot separate China and RIMPAC from the broader tensions in Sino-US relations." He added that, by and large, the Chinese are becoming increasingly impatient, although I think it's a cycle of reaction you are seeing between the Americans and the Chinese. You can't really pinpoint who started this in any sense has. Ultimately, the situation is worrying, he said, as the balance of power has shifted significantly to the Chinese side in terms of the skills the Chinese can bring to the table, unlike in previous regional clashes. In the meantime, the U.S. and South Korea will also begin their annual joint military exercises this week. Despite a reluctant program due to the pandemic that includes mostly computer-simulated war scenarios, the exercises beginning Tuesday could still anger North Korea, which is viewing Allied training as invasion samples.